I've got a large collection of arcade games. I wonder how much it would cost to complete all of them if it was a real arcade. Only one way to find out. You know what I miss? Rail shooters. I always enjoyed this genre the most in any arcade I went to, and it's a dying breed in gaming. Sure, there are some you can get on the consoles and the PC, but using a stick makes the game slower, and using a mouse is fine, but using an actual model of a gun and shooting a screen is 100% the best way to play these games. Really, it was only the Wii and the PlayStation Move that have attempted to replicate this style of gaming on home consoles. VR also offers some great experiences, but sometimes it's just nice to have it pure and simple. There have been a number of fantastic rail shooters, some of which did make it to console, but some only stayed in the arcade. There is, however, one series in particular that did make it to PC and a few consoles. Fans are begging for a re-release of it, or at least a new entry, and that series is Sega's House of the Dead. Quick disclaimer, this is the Dreamcast version with cheats on to give infinite credits, so there might be some differences to the arcade game. Known for its fast action and awful voice acting, the House of the Dead series has gone from a humble beginning to one of the most popular rail shooters in the world. As the series went on, the guns got bigger, the acting got a little better, but for most people, the first two games is where the nostalgia lies, and good news, remakes are on the way. Today, we're going to be looking at the second installment. Up to two players take the roles of James Taylor and Gary Stewart. Nice gun safety there, as they investigate the strange happenings in Italy while searching for their comrade G, one of the protagonists from the first installment. The plot in relation to the game is wafer thin. Any you get is the bare minimum plot of bad guy do bad things, go stop him. There is some reference and elements to the first title present, but if you are interested to get deeper into the lore, then internet is the best option. The game starts with a prelude. The protagonists are driving to meet G. They're stopped by an imp-like creature who sets zombies on us. As mentioned before, the voice acting is infamous in this series, and it'll be one of the first things you notice and wince at when you play this game. I had to suffer through it, so do you.
We're meeting G over there. Let's go, Gary.
To make up for it though, the gameplay is great. Point and shoot. That's all you need to know. If that trigger finger of yours has got an itchy rash on it, then this is going to help. Obviously the arcade machine wouldn't feature a crosshair on it, and the gun you would hold is a standard pistol light gun with a trigger, and you would shoot off screen to reload. On the Dreamcast, you have a button to reload, a button to shoot, and use the stick to aim. Technically speaking, you can give yourself infinite ammo if you reload mid-shot, giving us an advantage over the light guns. So it's not a perfect emulation of the arcade experience, but sadly, it's the best we can get. You have torches at the bottom of the screen that represent your life. Whenever you're hit, you lose one, and lose all three, and it's game over. Stop! Okay, real talk, I just realised an error. Normally you would have 3 torches that act as your health, however, you can see here, there's 5. That's because in the options, I accidentally give us 5 lives thinking they were credits. Which does affect the emulation of the arcade experience, which does also mean it will affect the scores and totals at the end. Don't worry though, I have a solution, and I'll explain it at the end of the video. Right. Sorry for the interruption. After a kerfuffle with some zombies, you find a wounded G in the library. He gives you a notebook and you're attacked by zombies. Kill them and G tells you that Harry and Amy are on the way to back you up. Both of who look like they're made of rubber. After that you leave G behind and continue the level. Shooting zombies isn't all there is to the game though. A number of other features are present to reward you and alter your experience. First are the civilians. You will frequently see civilians under attack by zombies. Saving them, even though some could very easily save themselves, grants you bonus points and you might get some health back in return. Sometimes you might even get an alternative route to take through the level depending on who you do and don't save. It's not hard to shoot a civilian though, especially if you're firing like a maniac or just not paying attention, and hitting one drains your life by 1. Destructible objects are also present, and shooting them fulfills your desire for destruction, but sometimes they can contain items for points or health kits. Finally, no arcade level is complete without a boss. The annoying voiced imp is back, and this time he brought backup named Carl. The notebook G gave you shows you the weak spots on the bosses. In this case, it's the little shit imp. The bosses are difficult, and each one requires that you adapt to various situations on the fly. Carl isn't so bad though. You can blast his armour itself for the tiniest bit of damage, but hitting the imp does the most damage. As his health gets lower, the imp gets faster and harder to hit. If you get lucky, this dumbfuck might even fly into your own bullets. When down to quarter health, Carl faceplants and the imp starts flying in erratic patterns to hit you. It's an annoying bugger to hit. You know when one of those tiny flies won't stop flying around your face? It's like that. Though aiming towards the centre of the screen seems to help a little, even though you could swear blind you hit it way before it reaches you. Once you defeat a boss, a cutscene plays which ends the level. In this case, Harry and Amy arrive just in time for the fight to be over and instruct you to prevent confusion in the city. Not sure what that means, but if it includes shooting zombies, I'm down. And then Amy randomly gropes Gary's chest. What a pervert. Each level ends with a score screen. Your score depends on your accuracy, pickups, and how many people you save. Save enough people and you'll get 1 life in return. Level 2. Muddy. Goldman is sat talking to himself in his office as these zombies are trying to hitchhike into the game. It is possible to save the driver, and if you don't, the level changes slightly. This level is just as straightforward as the other level. In contrast though, this feels very cramped as you navigate through the side streets, and the level structure does create a sense of tenseness within you to stay alert. Kitty! The graphics are quite good for the time. While facial expressions, mouths and human anatomy does look off, the backgrounds have had a decent job done to them, effectively creating a convincing looking city with all the little details on the buildings adding character to the background. The gore and the monster designs are where this game shines the most. The monsters are grotesquely iconic and immediately recognisable by virtually every gamer, and almost all of them can be blown apart in great detail. Decapitation, bones sticking out of wounds, torn flesh, even full-on destruction of the upper torso. It's a delightfully violent aspect of the game, and it really adds an impact to your shots. In the level you find a corpse with a key next to it. Shoot the key to pick it up and you can take an alternative route to the boss. Unfortunately for me and Aka, playing this route made us feel like bad people. We encounter a boy being chased by a fat zombie wearing leather. Oh god, saying that out loud I just realised how awful it sounds. Saving him reveals his dad is still inside. We say we'll get him out, and then we accidentally shot him. I mean, no we didn't shoot anyone. Oh hey, TV! The TV shows the level boss having a wiggle dance on the bridge and we rush to kill it. On the way we fight a few new enemies like zombie fishies, kill some zombie sailors and save a squeaky voiced nerd.
Help me! Ah!
Then make it to the bridge. Harry and Amy show up to offer nothing to the plot, and then the boss shows up. The boss's weak point is its heart. Tricky to hit the heart because it won't stop dancing and its ribs keep opening and closing. Tricky if you have a light gun. On the Dreamcast, half dead with no effort. In its second phase, the killer sushi monster jumps into the water and invokes the power of Aquaman to make zombie piranha fly at you. So you need to change targets quickly unless you're on the Dreamcast. The final phase, it will keep jumping off the bridge and then it will jump on the bridge from a high angle to try and stab you. You can shoot it in the heart if you aim well and at the right time, but missing it means that you get stabbed in the face before you can hit it back. If you're on the Dreamcast, then the better aim makes this boss easy, but in my experience a light gun is much trickier to use in this scenario. Once it's defeated, Gary jumps into a boat that magically appears and the level ends. Level 3. Darkness. The more I read these titles, the more I'm convinced this game was written by a deep 14-year-old. In this level we do actually get some lore establishment. Harry tells us that the villain, Goldman, was the cause of the outbreak in the first game. While this tale is being told, Harry asks you to back him up. Harry is also an idiot who parks right next to zombies so you get a chance to shoot them point blank instead of, using your guns at a distance, like they're designed to be used. First section of the level relies a lot on jump scares and surprise attacks to damage you. Halfway through this short section, Amy gets a call saying Goldman wants to meet us at the Colosseum. It's obviously a trap, but we have a plan. Harry and Amy drop you off in the catacombs so you can reach the Colosseum underground while they sail there. I didn't say it was a good plan. This level is probably the shortest one in the game. All the levels are fairly short and can be finished between 3, maybe 7 minutes, depending on what routes you take, how well you shoot, and how far in the game you are. In this particular level though, the boat section wasn't that long, only drawn out by the cutscenes. Once you get dropped off, the boss is quite literally around the corner. Whenever I've spoken to people about this game who played it, this boss has always come up and opinions on it have been split. It definitely is one of the more difficult bosses, but not the most difficult. Oh, don't worry, we will get to that. It has 2 phases to it. Its first phase involves trying to bite you with one of its 5 mouths, which are also its weak spot. You need to shoot it in the gob while it's charging a bite attack, but a careful shot can also nail it while it's idle. What makes it hard to pull off though is just how wiggly. Why are there so many wiggly bosses in this game? Just how wiggly the worms are, and the angles it takes while charging the bite can sometimes hide the mouth completely, leaving you unable to shoot it unless you get a lucky shot, as it turns around. On the plus side though, this phase actually gets easier the more health the boss loses. The heads can be killed individually, meaning less heads you need to watch out for. Once you kill all the pink worms, the blue one flees into a flooded area, and it almost mimics the tactic of the annoying imp, by swimming in erratic movements at you. Again, only vulnerable when it opens its mouth. You can imagine, or maybe even experienced, how hard this is with a light gun, and this is what most players I've met remember about the game. For me, the difficulty is one of the things I remember, but I also remember the music confusing me when it sounded like a German guy was yelling at me. When you defeat this boss, you get a call from Amy, as her and Harry have been captured by a monster. And then on to level 4, Despair. Nice touch in this level in that it features dark areas and you have a torch to light your way. Not that it does much, but still, it's a nice touch. What I also like about this level is that we are quite a way in now, and we're still seeing new enemies and they haven't started recycling them or reskinning them. The variety of enemies is considerably large amount. Some of the enemies are recurring enemies you'll see in most of the levels, while others make rare appearances and some will only ever make one appearance. The regular enemies, more or less, share the same health and can quickly be dispatched with several rapid shots, even easier if shot in the head. However, not every enemy behaves the same. There are your standard zombies that shuffle towards you and try and bite you. Variations on the zombies include zombies that can cover their faces so you can't headshot them until they attack you, zombies that throw things at you, zombies that surprise attack you, and zombies that are armoured. Enemies can also come in mutant-like creatures, which are like tiny bouncy gimps, lizard mutants, zombie owls, bats, and more. They can attack you at any time, and the first time players are always going to be fighting a new challenging battle every section, and because of this, the levels don't get stale quickly. Let's not forget the bosses, of course. Each one feels like a brand new challenging fight, and you get a sense of satisfaction from beating one, especially with this level's boss. Goldman has captured Amy and Harry and locked them in a cage with the boss. It's a very difficult boss if you're using the light gun. Well, you know what I'm going to say. Its weak point is the head, and to hit it is so irritating. It's a small target hidden behind a huge chainsaw. It's yet another wiggly boss, and the majority of the shots have to be quick shots that you get a harshly short time frame to react to. The intimidating presence of this boss is well established in this fight though, and it's not just because it's a giant half-naked man running at you. It crashes through walls, sneaks up on you, tries to attack you from above, throws axes, and it gets so up in your face you swear to fuck you could see its outline of its bulge. Its random attack patterns keep you on edge, and you do get an enjoyable thrill out of fighting it. Once you defeat the giant nappy man, you go to check on your burdens, teammates. Harry is hurt and dying? I can't tell. Seriously, I can't tell. The voice acting is that bad. And so's the writing as well. Have a listen, and at first, it sounds like Harry just gave you the keys to a car that's parked on top of a building.
James! The car's parked in the city square. The top floor. Building at point A0063. He's there. Go, James.
Thanks, Harry. Golden, I'm not gonna let you get away with this.
The voice acting became notorious with the game. It's a common occurrence in Japanese games that get imported to other countries. From what I understand, it happens because the voice actors are given no context to the situation through a lack of communication between the company branches, so they have to improvise. A difficult feat that is sadly not achieved here. Level 5. Dawn. There are some interesting moments in this level, like zombie drag racing and a callback to the first game, which takes the form of "oh for fuck's sake". Not only does the game recycle bosses, which results in 3 bosses for this level, it also brought back the most annoying and gave it more lines. Thankfully, however, its attack methods are the same and its health drains faster, so you can kill this flying turd easier.
Remember, there's no such thing as a second chance.
Remember, there's writers you could have hired who are better than this. A short section of zombie death racing later, out comes the sushi monster. Just as wiggly as last time, but also with less attacks. No killer flying fishies here.
Too bad. You're better off that way.
Well that's just cruel. Once sushi is off the menu, you drive your way to Goldman's HQ, break through his high security paper gate, and prepare to storm the building. Except, the callback is waiting for you. Fans of the series will recognise this boss as the Magician, who was the final boss in the first game. He's back, pissed, and full of worms. He's also just as much of a dick as he was back then too, but at least he seems cool. If we can talk about the sound design for just a moment, the sound effects and music are much better than the voice acting. The sound effects better, but not by too much. They're the minimum quota for the game, a few paint screens, zombie groans, monster noises, including stock ones. Gun sounds, ricochets, all pretty standard. The music is better than both of them combined though, even if it is hard to hear through the sounds of death and destruction. This music is this kind of electronica, part of me wants to say disco kind of music. It's very good and very catchy. The problem is the sound effects are so loud you only hear them in bits and you can't appreciate them properly. The bosses get a theme that most of them have to share. However, the Magician and the endgame boss get their own music, which sounds more like Castlevania. However, there is one track in the game, which is probably the most memorable one, and it's the victory tune. Enough said. The Magician is a cunt of a boss. His weak points are anywhere that isn't covered by his armour. Good luck hitting them though. He moves around the screen fast and often, stopping only to attack you either by throwing energy balls or by swiping at you. You can shoot the energy balls out of the air, but they need to be hit in the core or the hit won't register. Finding that spot is hard because they look like just a big ball of light until they get close enough for the core to be exposed, by which time you've most likely been hit. His swipe attack I think can be stopped if you hit his hand, but aiming there in time is not easy with control sticks, and he just loves to spam this attack to fuck, made even worse by the fact that it hits both players and will drain your credits like a bitch. If you drain him past half health, his only attack then becomes ripping off a Dragon Ball Z Spirit Bomb and throwing clumps of energy at you, which are even harder to hit, while the boss itself is much easier to hit and potentially finish off.
Oh Only man himself can control its fate. You're nothing.
Oof, this writing is rougher than a nutsack with 5 o'clock shadow. It's only just dawned on me that was a recycled boss from a previous title. Sega, recycling bosses with a twist. The final chapter, Original Sin. Time to storm the HQ. These cyborg zombies are giving me flashbacks to Jason X. Ugh. I think they got a little lazy too with the animations. Is it a feature or a glitch? I still like though that even though we're on the last level, we are fighting new enemies, even though some of them might as well be a reskin. And only one recycle boss this time. Just as much health, but no water section here. Outside of the boss though, you don't really have to do that much fighting, and the enemy types here are extremely limited. Not that it matters too much, because this is the final level. We're not here for zombies, we're here for him. And it's just as poorly acted as you think.
I've been waiting for you, friends.
Goldman! Do you know what you're doing?
I'm fully aware of what I'm doing. Can't you see? Man committed a sin, disturbing the life cycle of nature. The original sin that man is responsible to protect the life cycle. I have made a creature to rule over mankind. This is the final battle. Show yourself, our new ruler, the Emperor. Our new ruler, the Emperor.
The Emperor is even worse than the Magician. Its weak spot is unknown, but it's pretty obvious it's the spinning strawberry bonbon he has for a heart. Immediately there is a huge design flaw with this boss. It attacks by zooming around, like the Magician, and shooting chrome balls at you, similar to the Magician, except if one of the balls hits you, the damage marker has the potential to block your view long enough so that the next ball is too close for you to react to in time. So, you can imagine how stressful that is. Its second attack is to form a sword arm and strike you with it. We had no idea how to stop it, but it wouldn't surprise me if this boss was designed to be a milker and that attack was unstoppable, and just like the Magician, it loves this attack. Lowering its health to 3/4 will throw it into its second phase, which is actually quite a cool phase, as it mimics the attacks from the previous bosses, so you have to remember and react quickly what the weak point is for each boss. Then when you get it down to 1/4 health, it just becomes a game of luck. It turns into a nauseating swirl of metal and hatred, leaving the weak point exposed, but it's very hard to hit, and you have to hope that the bullet you fired was done at the right time to hit it, and you hit it enough to render its current attack useless. Fine-tuning your aim is very difficult because of the bullet graphic, and shooting the balls doesn't make them disappear. Now I am convinced this boss was designed to be a milker. Through luck and wallet endurance, you can win this fight, and when you do, the ending... it hurts. It hurts so much. Goldman kills himself by reenacting the scene from RoboCop, and you get this deep monologue.
It's finally over.
James, did we really do the right thing?
Don't know, but we have to find the answer by ourselves. As long as we try to keep on living. Goodbye, Goldman.
The credits roll and you get a joyous tune as you see the first person view of your characters leaving the building. And then when they get to the entrance, one of 4 potential ending plays. But we're not going to go through all of them. Much as I like this game, I'm not doing it for 4 endings. So House of the Dead 2. It's a lot of fun. It's chaotic, fast, and satisfying to fight the army of the undead. And the fact that your actions can change the experience slightly every time is a nice touch. True, its flaws are in your face and not hidden at all, but I think the flaws add to the charm of the game and helped increase its popularity. This game is great, and even better if you can use a light gun. And should those remakes ever get made, you can bet your sweet arse I'm going to be looking into those too. This game, 100% play it. It's great, even if you only play it once. And that was House of the Dead. Thanks for watching, everyone. Join me next time when we will be raiding a haunted asylum in the future of the 90s. So, before the video ends, let me tell you how I sorted out the 5 lives situation. I watched the video footage back and gave me and Aka a tally mark every time we got hit 3 times. Taking into consideration the extra lives you can earn through the game, I had a total of 18 times I got hit 3 times, and Aka got a total of 19. Now, because 3 lives are how many lives you have before you die, each one of these times counts as a credit, which now means that the money spent and the credits are